The sky over the planet Zithra, 9 burned with colors no human I had ever seen. Red lightning crackled across dark clouds, and the wind screamed through jagged mountains. Alien explorers looked at each other in disbelief. They had heard stories of Deathworlds, planets so harsh no species could survive there, but nothing could prepare them for this. Commander Zarvek leaned over the observation deck of his ship, frowning. "No species can live here," he said. His voice carried a mix of pride and certainty. "And yet, they are supposed to exist? Humans? On this world." Below, humans moved through the barren landscape. Their protective suits reflected the blazing storms, but they did not run. They did not complain. They worked. They built, repaired, and harvested strange glowing plants that seemed almost alive. The alien sensors could barely register how they survived. Lieutenant Kale, Zarvek's second-in-command, shook his head. "I don't understand, Commander. The storms alone should tear them apart. The temperature swings, radiation levels, predators. There is no possible way." Zarvek smiled, but it was not a kind smile. "That is why we will watch. We will learn, and then we will destroy them if they dare to think this world is theirs." The human settlement was simple but efficient. Domes of reinforced metal and transparent material glowed softly in the darkness. Steam rose from pipes, carrying warmth and light to the settlers. Children played under protective fields, unaware of the watchers above. Among the humans was Mara, a young engineer with sharp eyes and quicker hands. She adjusted the flow of energy through one of the domes. Sparks flew, but she did not flinch. Around her, robots and drones worked tirelessly, carrying heavy loads that no human could manage alone. Yet Mara directed them all with calm authority, as if the planet itself listened to her commands. Zarvek's sensors detected something strange. A massive creature, at least 15 meters long, slithered through the storms outside the settlement. It was a predator, perfectly adapted to the harsh environment. Aliens rarely saw creatures of this size on any planet, let alone one so deadly. Yet, the creature paused at the edge of the human dome. It did not attack. It watched. Kale leaned close to Zarvek. "Commander, it knows them. Why does it hesitate?" Zarvek narrowed his eyes. "That is what we are here to find out. Watch closely." Mara noticed the creature too. She stepped outside briefly, a calculated risk, and held out her hand. The predator lowered its massive head, sniffing the air. Then, almost impossibly, it bowed slightly before retreating into the storm. Mara smiled, but only briefly. The humans had learned to coexist with death itself, and they knew danger was everywhere. Inside the dome, the human council gathered. Elder Joran, a veteran of many harsh planets, addressed the young settlers. "We survive here not because we are strong, but because we understand the world. Respect it. Work with it. It will challenge you, yes, but it will also protect you if you earn it." The aliens watched this with growing disbelief. A drone recorded every movement, every word. The humans were not afraid. They were not weak. They were something else, something that aliens could not classify. As night fell, storms grew stronger. Red lightning split the sky, striking near the edges of the settlement. Robots ran emergency protocols, shielding buildings and rerouting power. Mara moved calmly through the chaos, her voice steady as she directed both humans and machines. Then, the unexpected happened. A fissure in the ground opened suddenly, releasing a plume of toxic gas. Aliens expected screams, panic, and failure. But humans reacted differently. They wore specialized masks and devices, containing the gas and rerouting the threat. No lives were lost. The alien observers gasped through their sensors. Zarvek's hand tightened on the console. How are they still standing?" he muttered. Kale shook his head. "Commander, we need to reconsider our plans. If they can survive this, what else are they capable of?" The humans did not know they were being watched. They celebrated small victories quietly. Mara checked her team, ensuring everyone was safe. She glanced at the stormy horizon and whispered, almost to herself, "This world is ours. We call it home." Suddenly, the predators stirred. Several massive creatures approached, drawn by the energy and life of the settlement. Aliens braced for an attack, but the humans were ready. Automated defenses activated, not to destroy, but to deter. Mara stepped forward again, her presence commanding respect even from the monsters. The creatures paused, then retreated, leaving the humans unharmed. Inside the alien ship, whispers filled the bridge. "Commander, they control the apex predators." "How?" Zarvek's expression was unreadable. "They survive where no one should. That is the point. This is no ordinary species. These humans, they are dangerous and clever. We must observe more, learn more, but we cannot underestimate them. Not now, not ever." The night stretched long. Storms raged, machines hummed, and humans slept in short shifts, prepared for any threat. Yet the aliens recorded every action, every adaptation. Curiosity began to mix with fear. Mara finally rested, her eyes scanning the glowing horizon. She knew the aliens were there. They had been watching for some time, but she did not fear them. The humans had faced Deathworlds before, had fought monsters, storms, and hostile environments, and they had survived. The turning point had arrived, not with a battle, not with weapons, but with simple resilience. Mara understood something the aliens did not. Survival was not about strength alone. It was about knowledge, preparation, and respect for a world that others called impossible. And the aliens were about to learn that lesson the hard way. As the first part of the night ended, the storm's fury slowly died, leaving behind an eerie calm. The settlement glowed softly under the fading red sky. Aliens continued to observe, their confidence shaken. Somewhere in the distance, the sound of massive creatures moving in the dark reminded them this planet belonged to no one except maybe humans. Mara stepped onto the balcony, looking at the distant mountains, and whispered again, "We call it home." The words carried weight, hope and defiance all at once. For the first time, the aliens realized that the humans were not merely survivors. They were masters of Deathworld, and this realization would change everything. The unexpected turning point had come. No species had thrived here before. Humans had not only survived, they had made it their own. And the story of Zithra 9 had only just begun. The following day, the skies over Zithra 9 remained a violent canvas of storms, but the human settlement had already adapted to the chaos. Drones zipped through the air, carrying supplies and monitoring energy flows. Mara moved among the workers with calm precision, checking systems and making adjustments that would keep the settlement alive. High above, the alien ship hovered silently, cloaked in a shimmer of stealth technology. Commander Zarvek leaned over the viewport, his arms crossed. "Prepare a landing party," he ordered. "It is time we see these humans ourselves. I want answers." Lieutenant Kale hesitated. "Commander, we have never had direct contact. They could be dangerous." Zarvek's eyes narrowed. "Dangerous? Kale, they're on a death world, and yet they thrive. That makes them dangerous by default. Go." The landing party descended in sleek pods, cutting through the storm. The humans noticed them immediately. Mara's sharp eyes caught the faint shimmer of alien technology moving toward the settlement. She did not panic. She walked calmly toward the energy shields at the edge of the dome, assessing the situation. The first alien pod touched down in a clearing nearby. A ramp extended, and 4 figures stepped out, their armor reflecting the harsh red light of the storm. Their appearance was unsettling, slender, angular, with dark, reflective eyes that seemed to pierce the very air. One of the aliens stepped forward. Zarvek. His voice carried across the translation field. "Humans, explain yourselves. How do you survive here?" Mara crossed her arms. She studied the aliens with the same intensity they were using to study her. "We survive," she replied calmly. "Because this is our home. We do not fear it. We work with it." Zarvek's lips curled into a smirk. "Work with it? You are barely alive. The storms will tear you apart. The predators will eat you. The ground itself wants to kill you. And yet, here you stand. Foolish human." Mara tilted her head slightly. "Perhaps. Or perhaps you do not understand what it means to call a place home." The alien stiffened. Their sensors recorded every word, every gesture. They expected weakness, fear, chaos. Instead, they found calm, precision, and quiet confidence. A sudden roar echoed through the valley. One of the apex predators, the same Mara had encountered the night before, emerged from the storm. Its massive form was terrifying, muscles rippling under thick scales, teeth like jagged daggers. It moved toward the aliens with calculated menace. Zarvek raised his weapon instinctively. "Stand back," he ordered. "Do not let it reach you." Mara stepped forward, unafraid. She raised her hand. The predator halted, lowering its head slightly. It sniffed the air, then looked at her, almost like a loyal dog waiting for instructions. The aliens gawked in disbelief. "This is what survival looks like," Mara said softly. "We do not fight for dominance. We respect life, even the dangerous ones." Kale muttered under his breath. "Impossible." Zarvek's mind raced. Humans controlling predators? On a death world? The data alone could not explain it. He motioned for his team to stay ready. But fear and awe mixed in the alien ranks. The predator turned and slowly retreated into the storm, leaving the humans and aliens alone. The first true test had passed. Humans had faced death without flinching and without violence. Mara led the aliens toward a central hub of the settlement. Her team watched silently, but every movement was precise, efficient, and coordinated. The aliens noticed the seamless integration of humans, machines, and the environment. Everything seemed to operate in harmony, as if the planet itself obeyed the humans' rhythm. Inside the hub, Elder Joran stepped forward. "You are not the first outsiders to doubt us," he said, "and you will not be the last. But if you seek answers, you must understand one thing. Survival is not about weapons alone. It is about understanding. It is about respect. And above all, it is about courage." Zarvek's eyes narrowed. "So your strength lies in obedience? To the planet? To some primal force?" Joran shook his head. "Not obedience. Cooperation, adaptation, and willingness to face what others run from." The aliens processed this, but their skepticism remained. They had technology, weapons, and superior numbers. And yet they felt unsteady, almost exposed, in the presence of humans who seemed unfazed by a Deathworld's fury. Suddenly, alarms blared. Sensors detected a breach on the northern perimeter. A storm had brought a pack of mid-sized predators dangerously close. Humans sprang into action. Mara directed drones to create barriers and rerouted energy shields to contain the threat. The aliens watched as humans worked with machines, environment, and even the predators themselves. One human, barely more than a teenager, guided a smaller predator away from the settlement, using soft gestures and precise timing. The alien sensors recorded every move, but the logic escaped them. How could humans control nature itself? Zarvek growled in frustration. "Kale, take note. Their tactics, their methods. Nothing in our history has prepared us for this." Kale nodded, wide-eyed. "Commander, it's as if the planet itself obeys them." Mara approached the aliens once more. "You came here expecting to find weakness. You came expecting easy prey. Instead, you found balance. You will not leave with answers until you understand that." Zarvek's hand twitched near his weapon. He had faced many civilizations, many threats, but none like this. Humans did not fear death. They welcomed it, even on a planet designed to destroy life. A sudden explosion shook the settlement. A massive storm surge had hit the eastern perimeter, tearing apart temporary structures. Humans reacted instantly, reinforcing shields, moving injured workers, recalibrating energy flows. Mara's voice was calm, even cheerful. "Keep moving. Adapt. We survived together." The aliens flinched. In their experience, chaos meant panic. But humans thrived in chaos. Each disaster became a test, each threat a lesson in endurance and ingenuity. Hours passed. Storms raged. Predators prowled. Energy systems strained. Yet humans endured. Mara checked on her team, her calmness spreading like a quiet shield over the settlement. Even the young children, hidden under protective fields, were taught basic survival skills. By nightfall, the alien observers were exhausted, not physically, but mentally. Every expectation they held had been shattered. Their confidence was replaced by confusion, awe, and a grudging respect. Zarvek spoke finally, his voice low and calculated. "These humans, they are unlike any species we have encountered. Their strength is not in numbers or weapons. Their strength is in life itself. They bend it, survive it, master it. This planet, which we thought would destroy them, instead elevates them. Kale shook his head. Commander, we cannot underestimate them. Not for one moment. And yet, I do not see how we can defeat them either. Mara stood on a ridge, looking at the alien ship above. She knew they had witnessed her people's abilities, but she did not fear them. Instead, she felt a quiet thrill. This was only the beginning. The humans had survived for generations on Zithra 9, and they would continue to do so, no matter who came. In the distance, massive red lightning split the sky again. The apex predators stirred, and strange new sounds echoed through the valleys. Mara's lips curled into a small, confident smile. We call it home, she whispered once more, and we will not leave it. The aliens retreated to their ship, but their minds raced. What they had seen was beyond comprehension. Humans were not simply survivors. They were strategists, engineers, and masters of Deathworld survival. And Zarvek realized with a cold certainty that this first contact had changed everything. The unexpected truth was undeniable. Humans could not only survive on a death world, they could dominate it. And the question now was not whether the aliens would understand, but whether they could dominate it. And the question now was not whether the aliens would understand, but whether they could. As the night deepened, the settlement glowed softly beneath the storm. Humans rested in shifts, always prepared, always vigilant. Mara walked among them, her mind already planning for the next challenge. Somewhere beyond the storms and predators, more dangers awaited. But humans would face them, because on Zithra 9, survival was more than instinct. It was a way of life. And the aliens were about to learn just how dangerous that way of life could be. The storm had passed, leaving a heavy silence over Zithra 9. The human settlement glowed softly against the jagged, blackened mountains. Mara stood on a ridge, watching alien pods land again in the valley. This time, Zarvek was not alone. His entire elite team had arrived. Zarvek stepped forward, his armor boots crunching against the rocky ground. Humans, he called, his voice sharp. We have watched your abilities, but surviving is not enough. Prove to us that you deserve this world. Mara's lips curled into a confident smile. And if we refuse, she asked. Zarvek's eyes darkened. Then we take what you call home and destroy it. The humans did not flinch. They had faced storms, predators, and the deadly environment of Zithra 9 for generations. This was merely another challenge. Mara motioned for her team to prepare. We will show them what it means to live here, she said. The aliens herded the humans toward the northern plateau, a place known for toxic gases, sudden storms, and immense predators. Survive there for 48 hours, Zarvek demanded. No supplies, no reinforcements, only your skills. Fail, and we claim this planet. Mara glanced at her team. They were young, strong, and disciplined. We can do this, she said quietly. Trust the planet. Trust yourselves. The humans were dropped onto the plateau. Immediately, the environment struck. Winds ripped at their protective suits, lightning cracked dangerously close, and geysers of toxic gas hissed from the ground. Alien observers recorded every reaction, expecting panic. But Mara and her team moved with purpose. They had studied this plateau for years. Every crack, every geyser, every predator pathway was known to them. While the aliens expected chaos, the humans navigated it like a deadly dance. Hours passed. Mara led the group to a series of natural shelters, rock overhangs, and mineral formations that shielded them from storms. She set traps, not to kill, but to redirect predators away from the group. Smaller predators approached, curious and hungry. Mara's team used calm gestures and controlled signals to send them back, maintaining balance without unnecessary violence. Meanwhile, Zarvek watched from his ship, his disbelief growing. Kale, why are they not panicking? Why are they so organized? Kale shrugged. Commander, I do not know. Every survival protocol we know fails here. It's as if the plateau itself obeys them. At night, a massive predator, larger than anything seen before, approached the humans. Mara's team froze momentarily, but Mara stepped forward. She had learned its patterns from long observation. Slowly, she extended her hand. The creature sniffed, then bowed its massive head. The aliens gasped through their sensors. Zarvek clenched his fists. This is impossible. They control apex predators on a death world. The humans rested briefly, repairing their equipment and rationing minimal supplies. Mara addressed them quietly. We survive not because we dominate, but because we understand. We anticipate. We respect this world. Remember that. The next day brought new trials. Sudden lightning storms struck without warning. Geysers of toxic gas erupted unpredictably. Mara led the humans through each hazard, improvising defenses and redirecting dangerous creatures. Each challenge was more deadly than the last, yet the humans adapted instantly. One human, barely 16, rescued a trapped predator from a collapsing rock formation. Mara observed silently, impressed by the courage and intuition of her team. Even the aliens could not predict these interactions. Hours later, Zarvek decided to intervene. He deployed a squad to test the humans, sending hostile drones to pressure them. The humans did not fight blindly. They used environmental traps, clever diversion tactics, and synchronized movements. Each drone was neutralized without a single human casualty. Kale whispered in disbelief, "Commander, they are turning our technology against us without even touching it." Zarvek gritted his teeth. They are learning, adapting faster than we expected. Suddenly, a fissure in the plateau opened, releasing toxic gas and shaking the ground. One of the humans fell toward the edge. Mara reacted instantly, using a grappling tether and precision timing to pull the human to safety. The aliens watched, stunned. Every second on the plateau demonstrated courage, skill, and instinct that defied alien understanding. As night fell again, Mara gathered her team around a small fire shielded by energy barriers. She spoke quietly, her voice calm but firm. "We are not here to prove ourselves to them. We are here to survive, to protect our home. Every challenge, every danger teaches us something new. Trust your skills. Trust each other. Trust the planet." Meanwhile, Zarvek paced aboard his ship. "Kale, I admit it. Humans are not just survivors. They are exceptional. We cannot predict their actions. Every hazard we throw, they adapt. Every predator they command." Kale's voice trembled. "Commander, what do we do? If they survive this, nothing in the galaxy will be able to defeat them." The humans spent the final hours of the trial facing the harshest storm yet. Lightning split the sky. Winds reached unimaginable speeds, and predators prowled closer than ever. Mara's team moved seamlessly, combining knowledge, skill, and instinct. Every decision was precise. Every risk calculated. Every predator avoided or redirected without confrontation. Finally, the storm began to subside. The humans reached the extraction point unscathed. Exhausted but victorious, Mara looked at her team with pride. "We survived," she said simply. Zarvek observed silently from his ship. The alien commander realized that survival on Zithra 9 was not about strength, weapons, or numbers. It was about knowledge, adaptability, and respect for life itself. Humans had turned the Deathworld into a controlled battlefield and had emerged unbroken. Kale whispered, "Commander, we underestimated them badly." Zarvek did not answer immediately. He watched Mara and her team ascend the extraction path. "No species should survive here," he muttered. "And yet they thrive. They do not just survive, they master it." Mara's voice echoed across the plateau one last time, visible only to the humans and the watching aliens. "We call this place home. We will survive, no matter what comes, and no one will take that from us." For the first time, the aliens realized the truth. Humans were not ordinary. They were extraordinary. They could not only survive a death world, they could dominate it through intelligence, courage, and unity. The trial had ended, but the lessons were only beginning. Zarvek's respect for humans had grown, mingled with a newfound fear. They had underestimated a species that could not be classified by strength alone. Humans were adaptable, resourceful, and unbreakable, a force that could challenge anyone who dared to threaten them. As Mara led her team back to the settlement, the plateau remained deadly and silent. Predators watched from shadows, Storms subsided temporarily, and the planet itself seemed to acknowledge the humans' mastery. Zithra 9 was not merely survived. It was understood, respected, and controlled by its true inhabitants. Zarvek looked at Kale, his expression dark and thoughtful. "Prepare for our next move," he said. "If humans can master a Deathworld, then we must understand the limits of their power. And soon, we will test it further." But the humans did not know the next challenge was coming. They had survived, yes, but on a planet that would never stop testing them. Every predator, every storm, every hidden fissure was a lesson. And Mara, with quiet confidence, knew that humanity had already mastered the first lesson. To survive on Zithra 9, one must think, adapt, and respect life in every form. And in the shadows, the aliens began to understand one undeniable truth. Humans were a species unlike any other. The storm had passed again, leaving Zithra 9 eerily calm. Mara stood atop a cliff, watching the alien ship hover above the settlement. The aliens have been observing humanity for days now, recording every move, every action, every method of survival. Yet, no data could explain what they had seen. Commander Zarvek finally spoke. "Humans," he said, his voice cutting through the wind. "We demand answers. How do you survive here? How do you control predators, withstand storms, and thrive where no species should live?" Mara turned slowly, her eyes steady. "You want answers? Then listen carefully. What you see is not luck. It is knowledge. It is preparation. It is respect. And it is understanding life itself." The aliens watched as Mara led her team to a large enclosure at the edge of the settlement. The enclosure glowed faintly, protected by energy shields and natural rock formations. Inside, a massive creature stirred, a beast the size of a small building, with scales like molten metal and eyes that glowed in the dim light. Zarvek took a step back. "Impossible, that is the apex predator. It should kill everything around it." Mara approached the creature calmly. She extended her hand. The predator tilted its massive head, then lowered it fully, bowing as if acknowledging her presence. Aliens gasped audibly. No species could dominate an apex predator on a Deathworld. And yet, here was obedient, respectful, almost reverent. "This is Kadar," Mara explained. "The apex predator of this region. We do not fight it. We respect it. We understand its behavior, its patterns, its instincts. It recognizes that we are not a threat. In return, it respects us." One of the alien scientists, Kale, whispered, "It obeys her without fear, without force?" Mara smiled faintly. "Fear is survival for most species, but understanding is mastery. The predator is dangerous because it is powerful. We survive because we know it, not because we dominate it blindly." Zarvek's jaw tightened. He had faced countless civilizations, countless warriors, but none like this. Humans were not just survivors. They were strategists, engineers, and teachers of life itself. Mara gestured to humans around her. "Each human here has trained for generations to survive. We understand the storms, the predators, the toxic grounds. We adapt, we cooperate, and we respect the planet's dangers. That is why we survive. That is why we thrive." The aliens processed this information, but their skepticism remained. Knowledge alone could not explain the humans' uncanny ability to remain unharmed under extreme conditions. Mara knew they needed proof, something undeniable. "Then see for yourselves," she said. She raised her hand, and the apex predator slowly walked forward, circling the aliens. The ground trembled beneath its massive feet. Lightning cracked overhead, but Mara remained calm, guiding the creature with subtle gestures. The aliens stepped back instinctively, their fear evident. Kale muttered, "They control the apex predator and it obeys them willingly?" "Yes," Mara replied. "Not control. Cooperation. Respect. Understanding. This is our way. Every life here, every creature, every storm is a teacher. We learn, we adapt, we survive. And the planet, it rewards those who understand it, not those who fight it blindly." Zarvek clenched his fists. "How? How can a species achieve this? They have no natural advantage, no superior strength, no advanced weapons, and yet they dominate this world." Mara gestured to the surrounding plateau. "It is not domination. It is adaptation. Every hazard we face, every predator we encounter, every storm we endure teaches us. Humans have lived on Deathworld before. This is not our first challenge, nor will it be our last. The aliens watched as Mara demonstrated the predator's abilities. With a subtle movement, she guided the apex predator to clear fallen debris, protect vulnerable structures, and even her team members during sudden storms. Each action was precise, calculated, and seemingly effortless. Kale's voice trembled. "Commander, they are masters, not just of this planet, but survival itself." Zarvek remained silent, his mind racing. Humans had turned what should have been chaos into an organized, controlled system. The apex predator, once the symbol of lethal danger, now acted as an ally. Humans had not merely survived. They had redefined what survival meant on a death world. Mara continued, showing how humans anticipated disasters before they happened. A sudden geyser erupted nearby, but she had already calculated the trajectory. With quick commands, she redirected smaller predators away, stabilized energy shields, and guided her team safely through the danger. The aliens watched in stunned silence. Every move was flawless. Every reaction was instinctual yet precise. Knowledge, observation, preparation, Mara said. That is how humans survive. That is how we thrive. Not by strength alone, not by weapons alone, but by understanding life itself. The planet does not yield to force. It yields to wisdom. Zarvek's expression darkened. He realized, with growing dread, that humans were not just a primitive species trying to survive a hostile environment. They were a force of nature, unmatched in cunning, resilience, and cooperation. Kale whispered, almost reverently, They have mastered life itself. Mara's eyes swept across the alien ship, hovering above. "You came here thinking we were weak," she said quietly. "You thought a death world would destroy us. You were wrong. And now, you understand that strength comes in many forms. Not all of them are yours." The apex predator let out a low, rumbling sound, echoing through the valley. It circled Mara once more, then returned to its enclosure, calm and obedient. The aliens could not look away. They had witnessed something extraordinary, something that defied logic and expectation. Zarvek finally spoke, his voice low and measured. "Humans, you are extraordinary. Your methods, your understanding, it is beyond our comprehension." Mara nodded. "You have seen our survival. You have seen our cooperation with the planet. But there is more. We do not survive by chance. We survive by learning, by adapting, by respecting life in every form. That is why we endure where others fail." Kale shook his head. "Commander, if they survive like this, what hope does any species have against them?" Zarvek said nothing. He understood the truth now. Humans were not only alive on a death world. They were in command of it, using intelligence, observation, and cooperation to thrive where others would perish. Mara returned to her team. "Let this be a lesson," she said softly. "Every storm, every predator, every challenge teaches us. We respect the world, and it protects us in return. Remember this. Always." The aliens retreated to their ship, recording everything, their confidence shattered. For the first time, they feared not human weapons, but human ingenuity. As night fell over Zithra 9, the apex predator lay at the edge of the settlement, calm, obedient, yet powerful. Mara stood nearby, watching the glowing horizon. "We call this place home," she whispered once more. "And no one, not storms, not predators, not even alien fleets, will take it from us." The aliens had learned the truth. Humans were not ordinary survivors. They were masters of life on a death world, and that mastery was not visible in weapons or strength. It was visible in knowledge, courage, and respect. The secret of humanity had been revealed, and the galaxy would never underestimate humans again. The morning sun barely pierced the thick, stormy clouds of Zithra 9, painting the jagged mountains in shades of crimson and black. The alien ship hovered silently over the human settlement, its presence both intimidating and cautious. Commander Zarvek stepped onto the observation deck, his mind heavy with realization. Humans had survived impossible conditions, tamed apex predators, and thrived where no other species could. Lieutenant Kale looked over at him nervously. Commander, they are beyond anything we have seen. I cannot calculate their potential. Zarvek's expression was dark, but thoughtful. No species should survive here. And yet, they do more than survive. They master life itself. Inside the settlement, Mara walked among her team, checking systems and ensuring every human was prepared for another day. Despite the storms, the predators, and the alien observers, the humans moved with calm precision. They were used to danger. They were used to life on Zithera 9. Zarvek finally descended to ground in a smaller pod, flanked by Kale and other elite aliens. They approached the humans cautiously. This time, there would be no tests, no survival trials. The time for observation was over. The aliens wanted acknowledgement, understanding, perhaps even alliance. Mara greeted them calmly. You came seeking weakness, she said. Instead, you found life. Zarvek's voice was steady, though his eyes betrayed a mix of awe and caution. Humans, we have seen your skills, your control over predators, your endurance in storms, your adaptation to this world. We underestimated you. Now we seek understanding, perhaps even partnership. Mara studied him quietly. Humans had survived Zithera 9 for generations because they trusted life, understood it, and respected it. Partnership is not given, she said. It is earned, and respect is mutual. Do you understand what it means to survive here? Zarvek nodded slowly. We are beginning to. The apex predator, Kadar, stirred from his enclosure and walked toward Mara. The aliens flinched instinctively. Mara raised her hand, and Kadar lowered its massive head in acknowledgement. Even the strongest creatures respect those who understand them, Mara explained. Strength is not always about dominance. It is about balance, knowledge, and trust. Kale whispered. They command a Deathworld, and the apex predator obeys them willingly. Yes, Mara said calmly. We do not command blindly. We cooperate. We respect life. That is why we endure. Zarvek's mind raced. He had faced countless civilizations, warlords, and conquerors, but humans were different. They were not aggressive for conquest. They were aggressive for survival and understanding, and that made them unpredictable, unstoppable, and remarkable. Mara led the aliens to a vantage point overlooking the settlement. The domes glowed softly under the dim light. Drones moved like coordinated swarms, and predators lingered nearby, calm yet alert. You see, she said, life here is not controlled by force. It is guided by understanding. We survive together because we respect each element, each creature, and each storm. Zarvek's hands tightened into fists. Your methods, your mastery, it surpasses anything in our records. I do not know how to classify you. You are neither weak nor easily conquered. You are, Mara smiled faintly. We are human. We call this place home. Kale looked around nervously. Commander, if we challenge them, we will lose. We cannot predict their actions, their adaptability. Nothing in our experience prepares us for this species. Zarvek nodded slowly, though pride and disbelief warred in his chest. It seems we have underestimated humanity. They are not just survivors. They are the apex species on this death world, and perhaps beyond it. Mara turned back to her team. We have proven our survival. Now we must maintain it. Respect is earned every day through knowledge, vigilance, and courage. Never forget that. The aliens had arrived expecting to conquer or intimidate. They left with new understanding. Humans were not a species to underestimate. On Zithera 9, the death world that had broken countless civilizations, humans had thrived. They had adapted, mastered predators, endured storms, and made a hostile planet their home. Zarvek finally spoke, addressing his team. We came thinking this planet would destroy them. Instead, they have taught us a lesson. Strength is not only in weapons or numbers. It is in understanding, adaptation, and courage. Remember this. Kale nodded solemnly. Commander, they are extraordinary. Mara watched the alien ship rise slowly into sky. She knew the aliens had witnessed the humans' mastery, but she also knew that survival on Zithera 9 required constant vigilance. Every day brought new storms, new predators, new challenges, but humans had learned to thrive in uncertainty. They had learned to respect life in all its forms. The apex predator, Kadar, lay nearby, massive and calm. It had been a test and a teacher. Mara ran her hand across its scales gently, whispering, "We survive because we learn, not because we dominate. Remember that. Always." The humans returned to their routines, repairing systems, maintaining defenses, and preparing for the next storm. Mara walked among them, proud of their resilience and intelligence. Zithra, 9 was more than a Deathworld. It was a living lesson, and humans were its masters. High above, Zarvek and his team watched silently. The aliens understood now that no force in the galaxy could simply conquer humans. They had survived the impossible, mastered the dangerous, and thrived where no other species could. Humans were not merely survivors. They were legends in their own right. The first rays of the sun broke through the clouds, casting red and gold light across the mountains. Mara stood on the cliff once more, looking at the glowing settlement below. "We call this place home," she whispered, her voice carrying strength, defiance, and hope. Zarvek knew that humans had won. Not through war, not through sheer power, but through knowledge, courage, and respect for life. And that truth would haunt him and his species for years to come. The aliens retreated, not defeated, but enlightened. They had learned that humans were extraordinary, capable of surviving and thriving in conditions no one else could. And the galaxy would never underestimate humans again. Mara turned back to her team, smiling. "This is just the beginning," she said. "Zithra, 9 is ours. And nothing, no storm, no predator, no alien fleet will ever take it from us." The settlement hummed with life. The apex predator lay calm. The storms raged in the distance, and the humans prepared for whatever challenges awaited. They were not just surviving, they were thriving. And as the sun rose fully over Zithra 9, one truth was undeniable. Humans had made a death world their home, and no one, not species, not storms, not even the galaxy itself, would ever forget it.